Okay, so let's dive in. We are going inside Arts Electronica. This is the global festival where art, technology, and society, well, they literally crash into each other to try and figure out what's next. But we're not just going to look at cool projects. Nope, we're here to unpack the big, kind of mind-bending ideas that are actually driving all of it.
You know, this quote from artist and scientist Joe Davis just hits the nail on the head, right? We are living in a world that is just overflowing with tech magic that's, well, it's becoming normal and fast. I mean, smartphones, AI, genetic engineering, it's all here. So the real challenge, it isn't about creating more magic, it's about figuring out what to do with it. How do we find new, meaningful questions when we're practically drowning in the same old answers?
And this is where this really cool idea comes in, something we're going to call art thinking. Now, you've probably heard of design thinking, right? That's all about finding creative solutions to problems we already know exist. Well, art thinking, it completely flips the script. Its whole goal is to dig up the fundamental, creative questions that challenge our most basic assumptions. It's not about solving the problem right in front of you, it's about asking if you're even looking at the right problem in the first place. Okay, so with that art thinking lens, let's look at our first big theme from the festival, how these artists are just tearing down the wall between our digital and our physical worlds. Think about it. We're so used to interacting with the digital world through a screen, right? It's like we're looking at something just under the surface of the water. But this concept, a tangible user interface, or TUI, it's totally different. Imagine a massive digital iceberg, but the tip of it has actually broken through the surface into our physical space, letting us touch and feel and directly mess with data in our world. That's a TUI. So, get a load of this piece. It's called Interface I. What this incredible machine does is it makes a totally invisible system physical. You've got a Geiger counter picking up random radioactive decay, cosmic background noise, and it sends these little impulses to this crazy web of motors and strings. And the result? This constantly shifting, totally unpredictable physical structure. You're not looking at a chart on a screen, you are feeling the randomness of the universe as a real, tangible thing. It just makes you wonder, what other data that's all around us could we actually feel?
All right, on to our next theme. This is where things get really wild. Here, artists aren't just working with machines anymore. They're working with life itself. This is where technology becomes a collaborator with biology.
So, let me ask you this. Can a muscle become a high-tech sensor? I know, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi novel, but the answer is a resounding yes, and it just cracks open a whole new universe of possibilities.
Welcome to the world of bioart. So first up, you've got biosensing. Turns out, muscles are unbelievably sensitive to water pollution. So by attaching these teeny tiny sensors to their shells, you can track how they open and close and create a water quality monitor that's actually more sensitive than our best digital tech. Crazy, right? Then you have biofabrication, which is basically using living things as little factories, like genetically modifying silkworms so they can produce stronger, specialized kinds of silk. So what's the big idea here? It means we're moving from just copying nature to actually integrating with it.
And the range of this stuff is, well, it's just stunning. On one hand, you've got artists working with entire living organisms, like these frogs, to monitor an environment. And on the other hand, you have scientists working at the genetic level to create brand new materials, like this transgenic silk. It really forces you to ask, okay, where is the line anymore between what's natural and what's technology? Does that line even exist?
Our last theme gets a little more personal. This is about art that uses technology not to look out at the future, but to look back at us, to question what it even means to be human in this crazy new age.
Check this out. We've got two projects here that could not be more different. On the left, it's called face cartography. An industrial robot takes about 600 super close-up photos of a person's face and then stitches them into one hyper-realistic image. The result? It's technically perfect, but there's nothing there. It's completely empty of emotion. Then, on the right, you have the Future Day Spa. Here, technology creates this controlled environment of vacuum pressure and biometric feedback, all designed to help you relax. But the artist found it did something totally unexpected. It created these moments of deep trust and human connection. One participant who hadn't had physical contact in years actually initiated a hug.
So you see what's happening? One project uses tech to strip away our humanity, and the other uses it to create this shocking moment of it. The real power here isn't in what these artworks do, it's in what they make us do. They hold up a mirror, and they ask us, what do we want more? Perfect data or flawed connection? Technology is forcing us to answer that very question about ourselves.
And that brings us right back to where we started, back to that idea of art thinking.
After seeing all of this, it becomes pretty clear that in a world where technology is just accelerating like crazy, the goal can't simply be about finding the right answers anymore. I mean, the answers are changing way too fast.
It seems like the single most valuable skill we can have to navigate the future is just learning how to ask better, deeper, more challenging questions about the world that we are all building together.
And that is the real takeaway from Ars Electronica. It's an invitation, really. An invitation to stop looking for solutions just for a second, and instead to find a really, really good question. So I'll leave you with one. Looking at your world, your work, your life, what future do you want to question?